Dartschool presents calculating decimals. When we think of the number line that has got no end on either side, we often tend to think only of the integers. So we tend to think that we have a 0 and the next number after 0 is 1, the one after that is 2, and then 3, and then 4, and so on. These are the integers, and the number line actually contains numbers even between the integers. For example, the number that's halfway between 0 and 1 is called 0.5 or 1/2 as a fraction. Similarly, if you were to split the distance between 2 and 3 into 4 equal parts, the first mark would be the number 2.25 or 2 1/4, also called 2 1/4. The second mark, that's exactly halfway between 2 and 3, would represent the number 2 1/2, and so on. So we do have numbers between the integers, but more often than not, they don't show up on the number lines we see or draw. I said the number 0.5 is the same as the fraction 1/2. And I also said the number 2.25 is equivalent to the fraction 2 1/4. So how do we change between the two forms? Given a decimal, can we write down its fraction equivalent? And given a fraction, can we write down its decimal equivalent? Let's try and answer these two questions with the help of some examples. When you have a decimal number that has got a left hand side, that's the part before the decimal point, and a right hand side, that's the part after the decimal point, the part of the number that's to the left or before the decimal point is the whole number or the integer part of the decimal number. For example, in this number 2.25, the number has got two wholes, or in other words, this decimal number is always between this whole number and the next higher whole number, in this case 3. So you know for sure that 2.25 is a number between 2 and 3 on the number line. The portion to the right of the decimal point can have 1, 2 or even more number of digits. If you want to change a decimal number to a fraction or a mixed number, you keep the whole number portion unchanged. If it's a number between 0 and 1, it means there's no whole, or in other words, if you changed it to a fraction, the fraction would be a proper fraction. The first digit to the right of the decimal point represents the fraction 1/10. It's the place value of that digit. Just like we have place values of the digits to the left of the decimal point, like we have ones and tens and so on, the first digit to the right of the decimal point has got the place value of 1/10. The second digit has got the place value of 1/100. The third digit has got the place value of 1/1000, and so on. So if your decimal number has just got one digit after the decimal point, like this 0.5 over here, all you need to do is rewrite that portion as that same number over 10. So 0.5 is equivalent to the fraction 5/10, and that actually simplifies to, if you divide the numerator and the denominator with 5, 5/10 becomes equal to 1/2. Reason why we say 0.5 is equivalent to the fraction 1/2. In the same way, the decimal number 0.3 is going to be equal to 3 over 10, and that can be simplified. If you have two digits after the decimal point, as in this number 2.25, the left hand side of the decimal number, like I said, becomes the whole number in the mixed number. So this is 2 and something, and because there are two digits after the decimal point, the number extends all the way up to the 100th place. We write that down as the exact same digits, in this case 25, over 100. and then go on to simplify the fraction if we can. In this case, the greatest common factor between 25 and 100 is 25. So you could divide the numerator and the denominator with 25. So this becomes equal to 2, and 25 divided by 25 is 1 whole over 100 divided by 25 is 4. Similarly, if you have 3 digits after the decimal point, let's say you have the number 1.875 and you want to change it to a mixed number, the left hand side of the decimal number becomes the whole number in the mixed number. So this is 1 and something, and because you have 3 places after the decimal point, it's going to be over 1000. So the number of zeros after 1 on the denominator of the fractional portion is the same as the number of digits as you see on the number. If this is 3, this one is 3. If this is 2, this one is 2. If this is 1, this one is 1, and so on. And then the numerator is the same number that you see to the right of the decimal point. And like I said, if you can simplify this fraction, you should go ahead and do it. In this case, the greatest common factor of 875 and 1000 is 125. So you could divide with 125 the numerator and the denominator. If you couldn't figure that out, if 125 is too big a number for you to think about, you can start dividing them with 5, because the numerator ends in a 5 and the denominator ends in a 0. And then eventually it would lead you to the same answer that we are going to have now, which is 1 and 7 over 8. So this was all about changing decimal numbers to their equivalent fractions or mixed numbers. How do we go the other way? Given a fraction or a mixed number, can we find its decimal equivalent? Let's find that out. Let's say you want to change the fraction 3/4 to its decimal equivalent. All you need to do is divide the numerator, in this case 3, with the denominator 4. And keep in mind that you can add as many number of zeros as you want at the end of a decimal number after the decimal point. So 3 can be written as 3.000. You can add as many zeros as you want. We may need them in the division or we may not. So let's start dividing. 4 cannot divide 3. Therefore, you start dividing 30 with 4. Put the decimal point on the quotient right above the decimal point on the dividend. 4 times 7 is 28. Write down 28. Just go ahead with normal division, ignoring the decimal point, and then bring down a 2. 30 minus 28 is 2. Bring down the 0. We have 20, and then 4 times 5 is 20. Therefore, there is no remainder. No need to bring down another 0. We are done. The fraction 3/4 is equivalent to the decimal number 0.75. Similarly, the mixed number 1 and 3/5 is same as the decimal number 1 point. The whole number remains the same. To find the decimal portion, divide 3 with 5. 3 divided by 5. 5 can divide 3. Therefore, put down the decimal point. Write down a 0. 30 divided by 5 is 6. And let's not forget the decimal point. 5 times 6 is 30. Subtract. There's no remainder. So we have come to the end of the division. And 3/5 is equivalent to the decimal 0.6. So 1 and 3/5 is the same as 1.6. That's how you change between fractions or mixed numbers and decimals.